I see you.
Okay, so.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Cartographers Guild. My name is Josh.
I'm Drea.
I'm Leah.
I'm Brad.
And I'm the Silver Knight of Awesomeness, special guest.
And we're going to learn as much as possible about Kingdom Hearts from Brad.
Because Kingdom Hearts 3 is coming out in...
It is January 29th.
Oh my goodness.
I believe right. And it's, yes, I'm excited. And yeah, I really like the Kingdom Hearts series. I want to say up front, I love this series a lot, but I don't love it for its story. I think the story is plenty entertaining, but I love it for the gameplay. So hearing like the entire story of every game spoiled does not preclude playing the games. They're absolutely worth playing. They're a ton of fun.
But you are about to get spoiled.
Oh yeah, no, we're going top to bottom here. Because Kingdom Hearts 3, as you might guess from the name, is the 10th game in the series. And so there's a lot of history to go over, and it's really complicated, and it's mostly that guy's fault.
So it's Xehanort?
That guy's fault. It's
Kind of. Xehanort.
Everyone's
Kind of. That's going to be the answer to almost every question that you ask is sort of.
Yeah, the trick is everyone is Xehanort. So it's about half of everyone is Xehanort at the end of the series. Well, we may, if we have time, we'll go over that and just count up the Xehanorts.
Okay.
Should I open a document here? So
it's fine.
A running total of Xehanorts.
So we're gonna start way back at the beginning with the mobile game Kingdom Hearts Kai, which became Unchained Kai, which became Unchained Kai Back Cover, which is the movie you can watch if you get Kingdom Hearts 2.8.
2.8.
I'm already lost.
It's not important. What you need to know is, a long time ago, all the worlds were one, and there was all the light that anyone could want, and there was this one cool guy that everyone loved, and this guy. He went by, his title was the Master of Masters. And, he looked
He's got a thing for leather.
Uh-huh.
Well, I mean, who doesn't? Oh,
If
that's
you're-
just me. Oh, never
Yeah.
mind. Go ahead.
Good.
If you're familiar with Kingdom Hearts 2 or the
got
later
you.
games in the series, you might be thinking, that's a nobody. But
Yeah,
It's
that was what I was thinking.
specifically-
Organization 13.
Yeah, okay.
No, it's fine. No, it's... You might think that, but no, the Master of Master is great, and everyone's friend, and everyone loves him. And among his many incredible superpowers, he can see through time. He can see the future, and so he writes down everything he knows about the future in a book, and then makes 5 copies for 5 of his 6 apprentices, and gives them to them.
What about the 6th apprentice?
We'll get to him. And so he hands out these books, and he's like, this is the future, and it's very important, I want you all to read it. So they all read through it, and they're like, so we have some questions. First up, there's this whole thing about the world being destroyed because of a Keyblade War? That sounds bad. And he's like, oh yeah, it's super bad. You should definitely try to stop that from happening. And they're like, okay, next question, what's a Keyblade? Because those didn't exist yet.
Finch
Yeah.
says he can see the 4th dimension.
No, we'll get to how he can see through time in a bit, actually.
All right, so what's a Keyblade?
So yeah, they're like, so what's a Keyblade? And he's like, oh, it's this great thing that I just invented. You all can have one. I made one for each of you and kept one for myself, and it's not at all a one ring parallel here, not at all. It's just you all get Keyblades. It's super cool. They're giant. In case you don't know what a Keyblade is, they're giant keys that you can wield as weapons. They have a ton of magical powers, including being.
You're
able
wearing
to,
a miniature one.
Yes, I'm wearing a small one. It just looks like a key.
But it's awesome.
It's a
Anyway.
stylish key. Yes, I have a Keyblade. Thanks to my friends who bought it for me. Actually, someone back there.
Anyway, they have magical powers.
They have magical powers. They can unlock or lock any lock. They always come back to you.
They can unlock the hearts of worlds.
But there's only one world.
Oh,
right.
right.
Yeah, right now
We're
there's
not there
only
yet.
one world. Yeah.
Yeah, Fetch makes a good point. So we made the Keyblades to stop the Keyblade War?
You're getting awfully suspicious of this guy, but no, he's everyone's friend. Well, I don't know why you're so suspicious. It's fine. So So he hands out Keyblades to all of them, and one of the powers is you can just like give copies of the Keyblade to other people. And so he's like, all right, so there's going to be this horrible war, so that means you all need to build an army. Each of you build your own army, and you can use this power of passing on the Keyblade so that everyone can have a Keyblade. And then you can fight to protect the light. It's going to be perfect. There's no problems at all. And everyone's like, okay, yeah, that sounds reasonable.
He does look trustworthy.
Yeah, he totally looks trustworthy, right? So after this, he... Oh, and then they also... So they continue reading ahead, and they're like, Master, this says that you're going to disappear. Is that going to happen? He's like, oh, probably not. I'll probably won't disappear. And they're like, but if you disappear, like, all these bad things are going to happen. He's like, it's fine. I'm probably not going to disappear. Probably. And then he starts taking aside each of his apprentices and giving them special orders. And so...
This is all in the mobile game that nobody played.
This is all in the mobile game that is not at all worth playing. And it's mostly like in the background. Like, you have to work to get this at all, which is why they released it as a movie. That's...
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, his first apprentice, I don't remember most of their names because they're not worth remembering. This guy is Unicorn. Because they all have animal masks. This guy's Unicorn.
I love his mask.
So, wait, is
Yep.
he actually Unicorn, or are you just calling him Unicorn?
He's, like, he has some dumb name that's, like, Latin for unicorn.
Okay.
And that's why I don't bother remembering any of it.
I'm
Except
gonna
the sex, we'll
cosplay
get
as
to that.
this guy.
Unicampus.
Yeah. So, he says to Unicorn, listen, Unicorn, no one likes you because you're super stuck up. But you're going to be in charge if I ever disappear. I'm totally not going to disappear, but just in case, I want you to be in charge, and I want you to hold on to the reins of power with all you have, and don't let them go, even though no one likes you, it's fine.
He does have a sweet keyblade,
Yeah.
says our audience.
Yeah, all these, like, all of his apprentices actually have pretty sweet keyblades. So that's Unicorn's job. He's going to be in charge if the Master of Master disappears, which totally isn't going to happen. It's fine.
Let me guess. He says to the next apprentice, I totally want you to be in charge.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
No, actually,
Good guess,
it's
but-
better than that. No, it's fine. Is that the order? Oh, I guess it is. Okay, I thought it was in a slightly different order. So actually, technically, kind of. I thought this one was next, but no, it's this one. Okay, so next up is Bear, and Bear is cool, and he really wants to be in charge. And people kind of like him, but mostly he just wants to be in charge. Because he has this whole, like, hyper-masculine thing going on. And so the Master takes him to the side and says, listen, Unicorn's going to be in charge if I ever disappear. But he's totally going to screw up, and we all know that. And it's fine. You just need to take the reins of power from him
What in
when
the-
he inevitably screws up.
When?
This guy doesn't want to start a war?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm really confused.
It's fine. Everyone loves the Master. He's totally great.
Apparently Bear's Keyblade is the new favorite now.
So yeah, so
I'm gonna
that's
go through a lot of
Bear's
sweet
job.
Keyblades.
You know, in case the Master disappears, and in case Unicorn screws up, Bear needs to take over.
Okay.
Alright, next up is Owl. And Owl is really creepy, because she doesn't say much, and she just kind of watches everyone all the time. And so the Master takes her aside and is like, listen, you have this whole watching thing going on. You just need to watch everyone all the time, and then report back on them, secretly, to Unicorn. And that's going to make everyone love you, and it's going to be fun.
She has a really sweet keyblade.
She has a really sweet outfit.
We're gonna mention the sweet keyblade like every time, aren't we?
So that's Owl's job is to spy on everyone. Next up, this is Leopard. And so it turns out that the Master ripped out one of the pages of everyone's copy of the Future Tome and didn't tell anyone that he did this, and they only figured out later. And he gave all of those pages to Leopard, and he says, you need to hold on to these. No one else can see them. They are your secret to keep. Don't tell anyone that you have them. And the thing that's on those pages is that there's going to be a traitor among the apprentices. Which I get is a little suspicious, but it's totally fine. You just need to watch for the traitor so that no one else knows that there's a traitor. It's going to be great.
Because everyone else would become too paranoid.
Right. No, it's just no one else is trustworthy. Obviously, Leopard is the only trustworthy one. And finally, out, we have Fox. And Fox is great, and everyone loves Fox because she's super sweet and nice and full of heart and love. And so, one of the rules of creating their armies of the various Keyblade apprentices, they're all creating their own armies, and they're supposed to like compete in a friendly way, to like strengthen themselves and learn how to wield the Keyblade and all that. But there's supposed to be no crossing over. Like, if you're on a team, you're on that team, that's it. And you're not supposed to, like, none of the masters are supposed to try to snipe each other's teammates. It's just, like, we're
This
doing
is a
this
friendly
thing.
competition
This is
of
a
friendliness.
totally friendly competition of learning how to fight each other to the death. And so Fox's job is to go behind everyone's back and try to snipe the best talent because she's obviously the best at sniping talent. So she's going to get the true army that's actually going to keep the light safe.
Completely trustworthy.
So it's completely it's fine. She's obviously the best at it. No one else can trust her.
I think Fox is my favorite.
I like Al.
Al is neat, but I just really like Fox's Keyblade, and it was swirly and interesting.
And so
Apparently, Bears is still Fedge's favorite.
That's fair.
Bears is pretty good. And so this is Luxu. Luxu is the sixth apprentice. He did not get
Anything.
He did not get the future tome. He didn't even get his own Keyblade. That's the Master of Masters Keyblade. And you can't see it super well, but is the mouse captured? No. Okay. Right around the crossguard, above where he's holding it in his hand, is a giant twitchy eye. That isn't creepy at all.
Soul Edge?
And Master hands Luxu this Keyblade and says, this is my Keyblade. I need you to pass it down in an unbroken chain from you to apprentice for as long as possible, because that eye is my eye. That's how I see the future.
That's how I see the future.
That's how he sees the future.
Okay.
He also gives Luxu a box, like a really big box, like slightly smaller than a coffin, a little bit broader. And he says, you need to take this box and my Keyblade and go out into the desert somewhere, but only if I disappear. That's totally not going to happen. It's fine. And then you just need to get out. Just disappear. Take my Keyblade with you and this box. And Luke's was like, "What's in the box?" And the master like whispers in his ear, and we don't get to know what it is yet. And Luke's was like, "Oh, okay, cool." So, like, that's even something that's something that no one knows about yet. So
apparently the box was not that suspicious.
So now
I'm
that
still amazed that all this happened in a mobile game.
yeah, well, and I thought I knew my way around Kingdom Hearts. I knew nothing about
I've
this.
heard
Yeah.
nothing
The best
about
part
any
is-
of this.
as far as I know, none of this is going to matter for Kingdom Hearts 3 at all. But it's part of the lore, and I think it's hilarious. So we're going over it.
So now that
Okay.
the seeds of war have been sown.
Yeah. So now that everyone
No,
has
it's fine.
their
I don't know why you're so
I don't know why
suspicious.
It's a friendly
fine.
competition.
So now that everyone knows,
Yeah.
everyone has their secret plans, the Master gathers everyone together. He's like, all right, everyone cool? Everyone got their plans? Everyone understand? Everyone read through the book? We're all good? Everyone's like, yeah, we're all good. What's next? He's like, all right, peace, I'm out. And they're like, what do you mean you're out? Where'd you go? And then the Master disappeared and was never heard from again. And then Unicorn took the reins, and everyone hated it. And Owl spied on everyone, and everyone thought they were super creepy. And Bear tried to take over, and Unicorn was like, hey, there's this page missing from my book. Is that true for everyone else? And everyone's like, yeah, check out my book. It's missing the page. And he's like, that's really suspicious. The only conclusion that I can possibly draw from this is that there must be a traitor in our midst. And Leopard's like, I don't know, what? Yeah, there's totally traitors.
Rumor has it.
And then eventually they find out also, oh, by the way, yeah, Fox has been totally stealing all of our best talents. And so then they all fight. And the world
Then they all
explodes.
what?
Then they all fight. And then the world explodes. Kingdom Hearts is lost, it falls into the darkness. Kingdom Hearts, by the way, is the heart of all worlds, and it's full of light, and it's the source of all light, and so it fell into darkness, and that's bad. But luckily, there was still light in the hearts of children, and they managed to create new worlds for everyone to live on, but now all the worlds are separate.
So this is when the worlds separate.
Yeah, this is when the worlds separate. Master and Masters caused the Keyblade War for some reason. And so then a lot of time passes. We don't actually know exactly how long, but a lot of time passes. Eventually, there are 2 new Keyblade Masters. There's this guy, whose name is Ericus, and he's a very cool guy, and he's very all about protecting the light and using the light, and darkness is super bad, don't do it. And he was raised and trained alongside this guy.
Which game is this?
So this is Birth by Sleep, by the way. This is in part of the lead up to Birth by Sleep. This is Xehanort. We're gonna hear that name a lot.
Xehanort Mark 1.
Yeah, this is the original Xehanort, kind of. Asterisk.
Asterisk.
Xehanort really wanted to use whatever power he could get his hands on. He was more than happy to embrace the darkness, and he really wanted to find Kingdom Hearts. And that's going to be a repeated thing. Xehanort really super wants Kingdom Hearts all to himself. Or possibly for everyone, I don't know. He just wants Kingdom Hearts. So those 2 were trained together, and they clashed because he hates light, he hates darkness, and loves light, and he's willing to use whatever he can. So they clash. Their master, who is unnamed, sides with Ericus, banishes Xehanort, and they don't talk for a long time. Xehanort, knowing that he can't do this whole Kingdom Hearts thing on his own, drafts this guy. This is Ventus. And Ventus is... We don't really know exactly where he comes from, but he was trained by Xehanort to be all about darkness. Go all in, be the darkest possible, remove all light from your heart, just be pure darkness. And he tries so hard, but he can't. And this is, a thing that's kind of glossed over, but Ventus was kind of pushing it with the whole darkness thing. He really had a lot of darkness in him, as we'll see later. And he tried. He was really into this whole trying to be all about the darkness. But he couldn't do it. He could not banish all the light from his heart. So eventually, Xehanort gets fed up and is like, listen, I know how to get a being of pure darkness. I'm just going to rip all the darkness out of you. And Ventus is like, isn't that going to rip my heart into pieces? And Xehanort's like, yep, here we go. Creates this guy. This is
Stalker.
Vanitas. Yeah, this is Stalker. This is Vanitas. Vanitas is all of the darkness in that came out of Ven.
Wait, question.
Sure.
So now that Ventus, or Ven, has all the darkness ripped out of him, is he a Princess of Light now?
No.
Oh, okay.
Because he doesn't have most of his heart anymore. Because a thing in Kingdom Hearts is that most people have both light and darkness in him. Yeah, very much a Sith Lord and apprentice thing. Also, a thing I've neglected to mention that sadly this image didn't have, Xehanort has the Master's Keyblade.
Oh.
You don't see it often, and it wasn't, it isn't made a big deal of in the games because the mobile game is very much isolated into its own thing, but Xehanort definitely has...
The Master of Masters Keyblade.
Yeah, he has the black thing that's all spiking with the eyeball in it.
Alright.
So anyway, so
This one
all
has
hearts
2
have
eyeballs in it.
both light and darkness in them, or most of them except for Keyblade, the Princesses of Heart who are pure light, but they're special. So ripping the darkness out of someone's heart rips their heart into pieces.
This is my last resort.
And so that didn't go well for Ben. And so he was dying. And so Xehanort, for whatever reason, took Ven's dying body to where he grew up. To where Xehanort specifically grew up. He took him back to Destiny Islands. Destiny Islands is going to be important later, and if you played the first 2 games, you know how important that is. Because on Destiny Islands, there was a very young boy whose heart reached out to the broken Ventus and healed him. And that boy's name is Sora. And Sora's name is also going to come up a because he's kind of the main character. So, Ven is dying. Sora, very young, possibly an infant, but the timing doesn't really work for that.
He looks kind of toddlery.
That's a significant amount of time later, but they don't say how much time.
Oh, okay.
So-
So anyway, real
Regardless,
life.
very young, possibly an infant. Sora's heart reaches out to Ven, and
Kind of takes it in, like keeps it safe.
fills
Right?
in the empty parts.
Right.
Actually, so
Okay.
if you imagine like a cartoon heart, and then you rip it out, and you have the darkness over here and the light that's left over here, Sora fills in the parts that were ripped out. So the two of them have a very strong connection.
That's really interesting. I always thought that Sora, like the way it was when we played this one, so I finally kind of know what we're talking about. I always thought that like Ven was kind of kept safe in Sora's heart.
That happens
That
later.
happens later.
Oh, that happens later. Okay, sorry.
No,
my
it's
bad.
fine.
Spoiler alert.
Yes, how could you spoil these games? Oh, by the way, something I wanted to point out. You see, Ven has cross suspenders.
Yes.
Okay, moving on.
Cross
So-
belts.
I know where this is going.
Anyway.
Right, so Ven gets healed, but he loses all of his memories. Because your memories are wound up in a chain around your heart. And so when his heart got ripped into pieces, his memories got scattered to the wind. Yeah, you're not allowed to spoil things before I spoil them. It's my job. So Xehanort takes Ven to Ericus and says, "Hey, I'm real sorry about all those terrible things that I did. I feel real bad about it. Also, I have this broken child. Can you take care of him for me? I don't want to deal with him anymore." So
At this
Ericus-
point, when it's apparent that Ven is not going to die for whatever reason.
Right, but
Okay.
he's also completely useless now for
Xehanort's
for
plan.
Xehanort's plans. Like Xehanort has the being of pure darkness now. He doesn't need he's pretending like he doesn't need Ven. He wants to get rid of Ven to use him
Because he's got this guy.
because he's got this guy. So Ericus is like, "Oh yeah, I have my own 2 apprentices. He can train along with them. It'll be great." So this is Aqua, and this is Terra. You may notice cross suspenders. Also,
Theme.
that's not her Keyblade, but it's fine. That'll come up later.
Oh,
So-
you're right. That isn't her Keyblade.
Yeah, Aqua and Terra are training under Master Ericus to be the new Keyblade Masters. And so Ven joins with them. He takes a little while to recover, but eventually they all 3 of them become the best of friends.
Well, he also seems like a couple of years younger than Aqua and
Yeah.
Terra.
Yeah, like sometime later, Aqua and Terra are ready to take their master exam. They're ready to go out, become true Keyblade Masters, prove that they know what they're doing. And so, as this is an important occasion, and Xehanort seems cool now, I guess, Ericus invites Xehanort to come and observe. Because, it's nice to have, Xehanort wasn't, actually a Keyblade Master by their master, but he seemed to have mastered things on his own. So having multiple masters there seems nice. So they have their mastery exam. Aqua passes, Terra fails because he allows enough darkness in to use its power. Now, it was skewed against him because Xehanort influenced the test such that he kind of had to use the power of darkness to keep himself safe.
It was real shady.
It was very shady, but no one caught it. And so yeah, Erica says Aqua passes, but I'm way too afraid of the darkness. Terra isn't allowed to pass. You have to keep being her apprentice.
Although they make a point of going, this isn't your only chance. You
Yeah.
can try again later, but
Right.
for now you fail.
Right. For now, Aqua is the only one who gets to be a master.
By the way, Aqua, I've got private things to tell you now that you're a master.
Yes.
That makes sense.
The only thing that we find out he told her secretly is that the land of departure that they live in is this beautiful place, big shiny castle, but this is the traditional home of Keyblade Masters. And if they ever get into trouble, all the masters know how to turn this place into a magical fortress that you cannot get into. It mostly uses crazy mind magic to screw you up and make it impossible to get into the inside. This will be important later, but this is what she learns right there.
Ongoing theme.
Yeah.
So
Just sit on that one for a minute.
Yeah.
So while the two of them are talking, Xehanort takes Terra aside and says, "Listen, Ericus is kind of stuck up, right? Like, darkness isn't that bad. You and I know that. Darkness is cool. Like, you don't have to be all super dark and destroy everything to use darkness powers. It's just kind of cool and useful, right?" And this is exactly what Terra wanted to hear, because Xehanort's like, "Listen, you totally deserve to be a master. Ericus is just being a stuck-up snob about this whole darkness thing. You need to go off on your own, and I'll meet up with you later, and we'll totally sort out this master thing. You're cool and a master. We should hang out." And so Terra's like, "Yeah, that's great. Cool. Let's be friends."
This is beginning to sound like one of those don't do drugs things. No, it's cool. It's cool.
Also,
You want to
meanwhile,
be cool, right?
Ven is hanging out by himself, being kind of mopey because he didn't get to take the mastery exam, but he wasn't at all ready for it. And he also is just on his own.
Well, he's also really sad for Terra because Terra didn't pass, and Terra's his bro.
Yeah. So he's off being a little mopey, and Vanitas shows up and is like,
Which one was Vanitas? I know, but
Vanitas.
it's the darkest guy.
This is Vanitas. Vanitas shows up and is like, Terra's going to leave, and he's going to leave you behind, and you're never going to see him again. And he's going to die out there all alone without you. Bye. And Vanitas is like, that guy's trustworthy. I should definitely believe everything he just told me. So Terra goes off, goes out into their courtyard, and Ven chases after him. And Terra's like, "I have to leave." And Ven's like, "No, you can't leave. Let me come with you. If you have to leave, let me come with you." And Terra's like, "You are nowhere near ready to go out on your own. You need to stay here and train. And don't worry." And then he does a cool thing. He slaps the button on the side of his gauntlet there, gets his full body suit of armor, throws his Keyblade up in the air, and turns it into... He gets a motorcycle. Which is apparently a thing that you can do that never comes up again.
Well, we're doing this in order, but what's really interesting about that is, like, this game is, like, game number 6 or 7, I don't know.
Somewhere in there, yeah.
Like, this was like, whoa, Keyblades can do that?
Yeah, Keyblades you can use them to, like, travel between worlds. That's super cool.
Is this where Terra starts the I can't tell you stuff that's really annoying? Like,
Kind
stop
of.
bothering me, Ven, I can't tell you?
Kind of. Like,
Okay.
he doesn't, like, stop and ask, like, "Why are you freaking out? I'm just, like, I can come back. What's the big deal?" But mostly he's like, "I need to go before anyone...
I just
before
need to
anyone
go.
stops
I just
me."
need to go.
I just have to go. So he takes off. And then Aqua and Ericus run up. And,
I want that Keyblade too, by the way.
yeah, so Aqua and Ericus run up, and they're like, "Where's Terra?" And Ven tells them he just left. I don't know why he left. And I'm going after him. And then also jabs a button, turns on his suit of armor, throws his Keyblade and turns it into a skateboard. And he also takes off. And Ericus is like, "Well, that went to hell in a hurry. What happens? I have to stay here. A Keyblade Master has to stay in the land of departure. Aqua, I need you to go out and get them back, because neither of them are ready to go off on their own yet." I was like, "All right." So she also does the armor thing, turns her Keyblade into like this
Some kind of
kind
glider.
of like a glider riding, almost like trike motorcycle kind of thing.
It's awesome.
It's also cool.
It's cooler than it sounds.
Have you seen Nausicaa? It's like that.
Right, and then she takes off. So then all three of so you can play as all three of these characters, and their stories are told from their perspective each time. So you have to play through the entire game 3 times. And so they all go to Disney worlds. Right now they go to Cinderella's, Sleeping Beauty's, and Snow White's.
Yeah.
And the thing that happens in all Keyblade, in all the Kingdom Hearts games, is you show up on a Disney world, and the very first person that the hero meets is also the hero of that story, of that Disney world. And so they immediately make friends, and they help solve a problem. Oh, and the other thing is, backing up a moment, Ericus also told his apprentices that there's this weird thing going on where there are these strange monsters that seem to have darkness powers showing up. We're calling them Unversed, for like no reason. Like everything else has good names, but for some reason
I don't know
they're
why they
they're
came
darkness.
up with Unversed.
You need like Aqua's original mission was going to be to go out and figure out what's going on with this, but then all of this happened. So they go around
doing Disney things.
Yeah, Disney fits into this because basically when the series started, Tetsuya Nomura, the guy who's the creative director of this game, I think that's probably not his real title, but that's basically what he does, got into an elevator with someone from Disney and pitched them this idea, like, I want to make a super anime JRPG, but with Disney World in it. And for some reason they bought it and they're super into it.
Like, what? More marketing? Okay.
Yeah. And so...
But like the crazy thing is somehow it works.
Yeah, and it's somehow they managed to fuse a lot of the art styles. There's some of the like more realistic stuff, like Pirates of the Caribbean. Later on, this is weird. But no. So for now, they go to Disney Worlds, and Disney Worlds are mostly filler and a little bit of character. The Disney fits into it because the Disney Worlds are the worlds that were reformed after the worlds were broken.
So they're the ones from children's imaginations.
Yeah. The vast majority of them are the ones that were created from the hearts of children. There are some, like the Land of Departure and Destiny Islands that we've already talked about, that are unique to Kingdom Hearts that don't exist in Disney. And they're usually where the core story takes part, because they also really love just kind of rehashing the Disney story when they go to those worlds.
What's the Final Fantasy one called again?
Radiant Garden / Hollow Bastion.
That's the one.
Yeah. So...
But how does it fit into the lore is the question.
Right, that's what I was just explaining.
Yeah.
All right.
The Disney world are the worlds that were created from the dreams of children.
Okay.
So normally you meet the hero, and you make friends with them, and then you go on an adventure with them, and you maybe learn a little bit more about yourself along the way. Terra has real bad luck.
Yeah.
Because
he runs
every
into
time,
Maleficent straight off.
The very first world he goes to was like, oh, it's Maleficent. You know, the Dark Witch who stole Sleeping Beauty's heart, in case you're not all up in your Disney lore. Like, obviously super villainous, has sharp features and giant horns, and does dark magic. And
Totally trustworthy.
Yeah, she, I think, off camera had come into contact with Xehanort, and he had told her a little bit about there being multiple worlds and Keyblades and unlocking hearts and all that.
Which you're not supposed. If you're a Keyblade master, you are. This is rule number 1.
Yeah.
Don't talk about Fight Club. Like you can't talk about any of this stuff you know. Don't corrupt the world you're on. Like they can't know who you are or why you're here.
Yeah, if you show up and they're like, "You look weird," you have to be like, "Oh, I just live way over there."
Well,
it's
normally
cool.
the Keyblade magic, like the magic of having the Keyblade, like will help you fit into the world. So it'll like change what you look like.
Sometimes. In the more extreme worlds.
Hi.
She returns.
I came home early because my phone died.
Okay.
Okay.
I might head out again soon once my phone's more charged.
Okay.
Bye.
But yeah,
You fix the
the
recording
worlds are
light.
separate. It takes special effort to cross them,
And you're not supposed to talk about
And
it.
you're not supposed to tell people that there are multiple worlds. So Terra shows up, and she's like, oh, you're easy to control. And she just kind of snaps her fingers and takes control of him, and uses him to unlock Sleeping Beauty's heart.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And he feels real bad about this. Like, Terra is just like, oh, I just molested his master's daughter somehow. Like, I think that would be hilarious, but I don't think they're
Dog alert.
making this place called now, dog.
Luca, you're ruining everything.
Go away, dog.
All right, here, hang on. We'll just have to.
Oh,
Josh,
see
you're
that.
gonna
I
have
got
to.
the door.
Okay.
Yeah.
Josh, you're gonna have to do some edits when we before we
that's
put this
fine.
up.
This is all so informal. I'm not that concerned about it.
I can clip a couple of things out though.
Besides,
Okay,
we
if
have,
you
to,
don't
put,
mind, I don't
we have
wanna
to
create-
put in a Xehanort counter in the corner. I mean, come on.
I don't want to create work for you, but
It's
I'm totally happy if you want to do some editing.
It's fine.
Right. So,
Maleficent has just made
Maleficent-
Terra steal Sleeping Beauty's heart, and he feels wretched about
right,
it.
he feels really bad about it because she was able to take control of him because he had enough darkness in his heart, and he feels like that's his fault. And so, so this whole like meeting the villain first thing keeps happening to Terra. Every time he gets to a new world, he meets the villain first, and because he's a Kingdom Hearts protagonist, he tries to make friends with them, and they take advantage of him and then stab him in the back later. And so, eventually, all three of them go to each of the three worlds, in various orders, and they get little hints of what the others are doing. And eventually, they all get to Radiant Garden, which is a non-Disney world. It's again one that's made up for this world for Kingdom Hearts. It'll be coming up multiple times as well. Radiant Garden is where a lot of Final Fantasy characters live, and let's see, who do I have next? Actually, I have Yensid in here. Okay, so backing up for a moment. Yensid is another Keyblade Master, but he's also a Disney character. And he is part of the conversation with Ericus of figuring out this whole inverse thing. I don't remember why I had him here, but he was important for that, so it's important to know at this point Yensid exists, he's a Keyblade Master, he's in contact with Ericus.
Yeah.
So
Yensid is Disney backwards.
yes. Just like Ericus is Square.
Backwards.
Backwards.
So
Who's
Ven,
that?
so we'll go over Ven landing on Radiant Garden first. Ven meets these two kids, Issa and Lee. And these are, this is a kind of minorish thing, but it'll be more important later. So Issa and Lee are two kids who know how to handle themselves and want to join the Royal Guard. There's a big castle on Radiant Garden where a super cool scientist lives. And so these two want to join his guard and be part of that. And Lee wants to get into a play fight with Ventus. So Ven and he fight, they have a good time, they make friends, and then those two go off camera. Aqua lands and finds some people under attack by some Unversed. So she jumps in to help. Is Mickey there at that point or not?
I believe he shows up
Okay,
here.
so yeah, I think Mickey is there and they meet at this point.
By the way, Mickey's part of the story.
Yeah, I don't have a picture for Mickey because it's Mickey Mouse.
You know who Mickey is.
Use your imagination. You have to use your imagination a little because at this point he has an anime outfit. Like, imagine a bunch of suspenders and belts and buckles.
So what is Mickey doing here?
And if Disney is going to sue Deadmau5 over his mask, who knows what they'll do to us? So.
Yeah, so we're not taking that risk.
Anyway.
Mickey is here because he is Yensid's apprentice. Mickey is not yet a Keyblade Master. He will be shortly. But he decided to go off on his own for poorly explained reasons, honestly. I don't think they get
The
into why.
Unversed?
Huh? He might have been chasing after the Unversed. But he stole a Star Shard? Is that what they call it? Or a Heart Shard? Star Shard? I think
Star
it's a Star
Shard.
Shard.
Sure.
He stole a Star Shard, which is a magical artifact that can just kind of knows where you need to be and will take you there. And it is how he crosses between the barriers between worlds. So Mickey shows up here.
Because the plot tells him to.
Because the
I
plot
mean,
tells
the
him to.
Star Shard took him there.
And so this little girl is under attack by some Unversed. And so Mickey and Aqua jump in and save her. In doing that, Aqua is holding her Keyblade and lets
The little girl.
lets Kyrie, the little girl, put her hand on, like, rest her hand on Aqua's hand while she's holding the Keyblade. It turns out this is how you pass on Keyblades. they normally make a big ceremony of it, but actually that's all you have to do. She won't be able to use a Keyblade for a very long time, but we'll come back to that.
So, will we come back to
yeah,
that?
so these two meet.
Oops, sorry.
Right?
Yep.
Okay. So these two meet. Aqua and Mickey make friends. And then Terra... I think Terra meets this guy.
Yes.
We'll say he meets this guy. Or... I think she's actually there when Aqua... No, that's right. He's also there. He's also under attack with Kyrie. Why Kyrie is there is actually not explained, because they're right in front of... This is Ansem. Ansem is the cool guy in the castle. He's the cool scientist. And he's also under attack. He gets saved. And I don't know if we find out at this point. I think this is like... At this point, Ansem's like, wow, you guys have cool heart powers. I should start studying that. Heart powers are nifty. And that leads to disaster. But that comes later. And finally... That's... Okay, so a lot of stuff happens before that happens. So... so then Terra also lands, and then the three of them are all chasing parts of this Unversed. The Unversed comes together, becomes a big boss fight, and the three of them all fight together.
This is the first time all three of them have met up since they've all been chasing each other around the world.
Yes,
Wait,
correct.
and also before this, and you may not want to go into this, doesn't Aqua fight Vanitas here?
Oh yeah, no, that's a good point. Aqua does fight Vanitas here. Vanitas just shows up and says like mean things. I think he might mention that like Terra's going to fall into darkness or something.
He's the OG troll.
Yeah, he's just there to like get into a fight with them, and then he leaves.
Yep.
But he mentions, you know,
He's there to sow dissent.
you did all right in this fight. Always good to have a plan B.
Mm-hmm.
So very mysterious.
Yeah, so he's being very mysterious.
So
yeah,
anyway,
so
our
they-
three heroes
all
fight
three
this
heroes
thing off.
mysterious.
They fight this thing off. They finally get a chance to talk, and
This
almost right away, Aqua's like, "Terra, you need to go home. You're doing bad things." Mostly because, earlier, Aqua had also met Maleficent, and Maleficent was like, "Oh, you're Terra's friend. He's super evil now. I made him evil. Ha 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 ha. I'm evil. He's evil."
Aqua's
We're
done a
evil
lot of
friends.
hearing about the things that have happened in Terra's wake.
Mhm. And
Yeah.
yeah, and
So
Aqua,
she assumes it's all, of course, completely trustworthy information.
right, because obviously Maleficent is the person you trust with this kind of information about this best friend that you had that you grew up with. Obviously, he's been gone for like 20 minutes now. He must be evil, because Maleficent says so.
And this is how we greet him with
Yeah,
confrontation.
and so Aqua's like, "You're doing evil things. You need to go back home. Erica sent me here." And Terra's like, "I'm tired of Erica's telling me what to do all the time. I'm going to go do my own thing." And he takes off. And Ven is like, "Aqua, you're terrible. You can't just do that. That's mean. I'm leaving too."
Yeah,
And
you're a
Aqua-
horrible person. How dare you
Yeah.
besmirch Terra's honor, whatever, blah,
Yeah.
blah.
He
How
also-
could you be such a know-it-all, yada, yada, temper tantrum?
And I felt so bad for Aqua during all of this.
yeah.
Like, she
And-
didn't handle it super well, but they pile onto her.
They really do. And you know what? At this point in the game, Terra needs to at least acknowledge that he was involved in some very bad things.
Mhm.
At which point I feel like he could have gone, "Okay, look, just listen to me. Let me
Right.
explain what happened."
But they never
As-
explain what happened.
No,
They're
they
just
never
like,
do.
I'm gonna
Everyone's
be
just like,
mysterious.
"Nah."
Yeah, as with most dramatic plots, if people actually just sat down and talked calmly about things, it would solve everything immediately. But no, we have to have emotional blow-ups so that drama can continue.
So anyway,
Right.
5 temper tantrums later.
Yeah.
I hated Ventus so much during because and like in this scene, just because he is such a whiny little Terra fanboy, and Aqua's like, "Look, I'm really just trying to help everybody," and Ventus is like, "Well, you're garbage, and I hate you." Nah.
So everyone has a temper tantrum and takes off. Terra actually doesn't leave Radiant Guardian yet. He hasn't met anyone for his plot point yet. So he actually meets Xehanort again at this point.
Who's like,
and-
"Hey, bro, you doing well?"
Not quite. He's actually like, "I'm in danger."
Oh, right.
I think he sends him like a mental message or something. He's like, "You need to come over here. I'm in danger. I need your help." Terra shows up, and Xehanort is like strapped to a wall with chains and is playing the feeble old man, like, "Oh no, I need help." And there's this guy named Bragg who's not actually important. He just keeps showing up. And Braig is being vaguely threatening, and so Braig and Terra fight. And once again, Xehanort fixes the fight so that Terra has to rely on the powers of darkness to win. And Braig gets scarred from this and gets upset later, and because he's under Xehanort's employ, in case that wasn't clear. And so once again, Xehanort's like, "Oh, thank you for saving me. I told you this whole darkness thing is super cool. You should definitely rely on it more. It's great. Let all the darkness into your heart. It's going to turn out perfectly fine. You're a great Keyblade master, Master Terra. You're great. See you later." And then at that point, Braig is like, "Yo, that guy wasn't supposed to beat me up that bad. I shoot guns. I can't have a scar over my eye. I don't have depth perception now." And Xehanort's like, pulls out his Keyblade and just like holds it to his throat and is like, "I'm in charge here." And just like, Braig's like, "Okay, you're in charge here. Bye."
I feel so sorry for that guy because like he doesn't have a Keyblade. Like he's totally outgunned.
He's just a regular guy.
He's just some guy.
He's like pretty good with guns, but he also signed up with Captain Darkness, so he's all about Captain Darkness. He continues to be on Captain Darkness' team. He kind of deserves it.
Anyway.
So everyone takes off. There are a few more Disney worlds. Terra continues to meet villains first. Everyone else continues to meet heroes first. Things continue to go poorly for him and well for everyone else. And I believe at this point, like, a lot of things happen in a complicated order. So we'll see if we can sort it all out. First up, we'll get to these guys. So Terra finds this world. He finds... I don't even remember how he finds it, but he finds...
He lands on Destiny Island.
On Destiny Islands. And while he's there, he's like, things have been really rocky. I should probably make sure that as a Keyblade Master, I pass on my Keyblade to someone. And he meets this kid, and Riku. And Riku has a very strong heart, and he's very serious, despite his young age. And he's there hanging out with his best friend, Sora. You may remember from earlier healing Ven's heart. And Sora's cool too, but he's not nearly as strong. He's not ready for the Keyblade. So Terra takes Riku aside and does this little ceremony about like promising to be responsible with this power that he's about to pass on. And so he passes on his Keyblade to Riku. And Riku's like, cool. Also, you're a weird stranger. Bye. Meanwhile, what all is happening at this point? Ven, I believe, it sees in the space between world. Ven sees Vanitas. And at this point, Ven has a pretty good idea that this guy's actually bad news. Maybe I should chase after him and see what that whole thing about Terra taking off was about. So Ven and Vanitas fight. And I think he gets a few of his memories back at that point.
Yeah, I think he remembers... He might remember at this point who Vanitas is.
Like, yeah, I think at that point he does remember, like, I used to work with Xehanort, and I lost all my memories. This is really weird. I'm going to go back to Master Ericus now, because this is super weird. Do we have... Okay. Does this happen at that point?
No, back up.
Okay, it's fine. So...
It probably did, but
it happens,
I don't know.
Like, again, like, because you have to play through the game 3 times and you only see the story from each character's perspective, it's kind of difficult to keep all of this straight.
Did you mute it already?
Stop. Alright, I'll be right back.
Okay.
So,
By the time you get back, we might be through Birth by Sleep.
I mean, yeah, we're at the end of a Kingdom Hearts game. This is near the end of a Kingdom Hearts game, so this is where a lot of the plot density happens.
I think there's the confrontation at the Land of Departure before everyone meets up at Destiny Isles.
Yeah.
Okay, that's...
Okay. Sure.
Sure.
Sure, why not? We'll go with
that. That might have been his reasoning for passing on the Keyblade at that point or something.
Maybe.
So anyway, around that time, so in the same rough span of time, so Vanitas gets some of his memories back, and so he goes back to the Land of Departure and is like, Ericus, what's going on? I have these weird memories. I seem to be 2 people now. And either he or Ericus figure out Xehanort's plan at this point, which is we have this being of pure darkness, and Ven is basically a being of pure light at this point. And if those two clash, they can create the Kai Blade.
Oh, this was so dumb. You love
Kai being the Greek letter that looks like an X. And they pronounce it Ki because that's kind of the accurate pronunciation. But I'm going to be calling it the Kai Blade because I'm not going to have it that confusing. When you have subtitles, it's a little more clear. So you have the Keyblade Master of Pure Light, Keyblade of Pure Darkness. They clash. They create the Kai Blade. The Kai Blade can open the way to Kingdom Hearts. And that's what Xehanort always wants. He always wants Kingdom Hearts. So he set all this up to try to get Ven and Vanitas to fight. And so Ericus, knowing this, is like, if he pulls this off, it will be disaster for everyone. I have a terrible solution, but I have to do it. Then I have to kill you. And Ven's like, I'm not into that.
And it's at this point that Terra shows up when
Yes.
Ericus has pulled his blade on Ven.
Yeah,
I
like with no
believe-
context.
Yeah, specifically,
I think
Xehanort.
Xehanort even warns him that
yeah,
this is going to happen.
Xehanort also met Terra in the space between worlds. Is like, you need to go back to the land of the departure. Something real bad's going to happen to Ven. And so yeah, so Terra shows up, and like, Ericus is like mid-swing about to take out Vanitas, or take out Ven, and so Terra jumps in, manages to block, and Terra's like, "What do you can't? Why are you what?" And then the two of them fight because, like, Ericus refuses to again sit down and calmly talk things through. He's like, "No, I feel real bad about this, but I totally have to kill him. It's something I have to do." And Terra's like, "No." And so they fight.
Can we vote on this, please?
Like, can we know? Can we know? And so they fight. And Terra, using the power of darkness, wins. And at that point,
Kills his master.
well, at that point, I believe Aqua shows up.
Oh, okay.
Well,
this
no,
looks
no,
real.
No, she never shows up. He tells her later when they meet at the crossroads.
Oh, okay.
I heard this happened.
Did it?
I mean, she gets his Keyblade, though. She shows up after everyone leaves, I think.
I think that's what happened.
Okay, so yeah. So he feels real bad. So yeah, Terra feels real bad.
Well, I think at this point he realizes he's being used. Or shortly
Kind
thereafter.
of. Like, he realizes something's definitely going wrong.
Because he
Oh,
just
no.
killed his master whom he loves.
Specifically because, so when Terra jumped in to save him, Ven took off. Ven was like, I don't want to be here. This guy's trying to kill me and he's way stronger than me.
I think he told him to run, actually.
Yeah, Terra told him to run, but Ven takes off. I think, yeah, at this point, Xehanort does show up as Ericus is dying. And he's like, ha ha ha, I am the mastermind of everything. You killed this guy because I wanted you to. If you want to resolve all this, meet me at the Keyblade Graveyard. You've been there before, you know where it is. It's cool. They probably fought Vanitas there at some point. Vanitas fights everyone at some point, sometimes multiple times. He just kind of shows up to be a boss fight.
And I will call you mid-boss.
So, hang on. Before we get to the crossroads, I think we also need to talk about Ven going to Destiny Islands, because Ven meets Sora.
Does he?
Yeah, and decides, no.
Well, okay, we'll get to that in a moment.
Okay,
so,
never mind.
Xehanort is there and being like, I'm being upfront about this evil thing now. Basically, all of my plans are working. You should come to Keyblade Graveyard and we'll have it out there. But first, Meteor Swarm, because apparently he can do that. And he just trashes the land of departure. The castle is mostly fine, but it's not looking great. And then he and Terra take off. And that's when Aqua shows up.
And she's like,
And she's like, why is my home destroyed? Why is my master dying? What's going on? This is terrible. And Ericus is like, look, you need to take my Keyblade, first of all. This is going to be important. Does he get his Keyblade? Yeah. maybe?
Yeah, I mean, this part is actually told after her story ends.
Oh, okay.
But it's okay to tell it now,
Yeah.
because
It probably happens now?
it happens now.
Okay, so yeah.
what happens now?
So everything that I just
So what's
said.
happening
Oh, no,
now
wait.
is
Aqua-
happening
No, wait.
now.
It doesn't happen now.
It
I'm
doesn't?
sorry. It does not happen now
Okay,
because
fine,
she
we'll
has
come
to take Ven back here. It doesn't happen now.
She doesn't. She comes back later with after Ericus is dead. I'm pretty
Yes.
sure. Yeah. So this actually happens here. She meets Ericus. He gives her his Keyblade. That's why she had it in the picture earlier, because she continues using it basically forever at this point. She kind of uses hers in gameplay, but she has Ericus's Keyblade. And so, and she also hears about the Keyblade Graveyard, and so she heads off there as well. I believe Vanitas once again taunts Ven into going to the Keyblade Graveyard.
Right, because Ven at this point is like, yeah, they had this confrontation at Destiny Islands. That's what I was trying to say.
Okay.
Ven's like, I'm not going to fight you, like, because if I fight you, we're going to make the Kai Blade and destroy all the worlds. Like, we're not doing it. And Vanitas is like, oh, we're doing it. And in fact, you're coming to the crossroad, the Keyblade Graveyard, because I'm going to kill your friends there if you don't. So, bye.
Yeah. And so that's why Ven is going to the Keyblade Graveyard. On the way to the Keyblade Graveyard, Aqua also ends up on Destiny Islands. Either then or slightly before, it doesn't matter. And she, once again, sees very young Riku and very young Sora and realizes that Terra's already passed on his blade. And looks between them and says, okay, Sora would be alright with the Keyblade, but I've seen what this does to friendships, and I don't want to give them that. They can just be friends without having multiple Keyblades between them. I don't want them to fight over this like we have. And so she elects to not pass on her Keyblade despite the fact that she already did it on accident.
On accident.
And so everyone meets up at the Keyblade Graveyard. And once again, this is only the second time that all three of them have been together. And they basically have it out at this point.
Finally.
Well, because Aqua's like, hey, I heard, I don't know where she heard it, but she says to Terra, I heard you killed our master, is that true? And Terra's like, yes, it's true. I was stupid and helped Xehanort do it.
Yeah.
And then Ven shows up and he's like, oh, by the way, the reason if I fight Vanitas, we're going to make this Kai Blade and bad things are going to happen, so I want you guys to kill me.
Mm-hmm. And they're like,
No.
we just got over not killing you. Can we not kill you?
And then bad stuff happens.
And then Xehanort shows up with Vanitas. And there's this very, very big, flashy cutscene fight that's pretty cool. And all three of them get separated. And, okay, first up, I believe... So, in the fight, specifically, Ven gets, like, frozen solid by Xehanort. And so Aqua is protecting him from Vanitas.
Mm-hmm.
Aqua and Vanitas fight. Mickey actually shows up at this point again and helps them fight. I think Mickey's met Aqua a couple other times, and so they're decently good friends at this point. The two of them, like, semi-handle Vanitas long enough for them to, like, freak out together about how everything is going terribly. And then I think in a cutscene, Vanitas just kind of knocks her out.
Doesn't she fight someone else there?
Doesn't somebody fight the gunner guy? Because
No, she totally does, doesn't she?
Yeah, because she's
Ven
fighting...
breaks out of the ice
Right.
to defend her because somebody's gonna kill Aqua.
Right, she's
Oh, okay.
fighting the other guy, and then Vanitas shows up and is about to stab her in the back.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm sorry, yes, you're right. Brig from earlier, the guy with the guns. That's his old gimmick. He's fighting her.
In a super limit break, no moment,
Mhm.
Ven breaks loose of the ice and starts to fight Vanitas
Yeah.
because he has to
But-
save his friend.
But yeah, and Aqua is at least knocked unconscious.
Yeah, she's out of the fight.
She's out of the fight. And so...
Doesn't Terra leap right for Xehanort's throat or something?
Yeah, we'll get to them.
Okay.
Yeah, Terra and Xehanort are fighting while this happened. That's why they're not here.
We're still on Birth by
They're
Sleep.
still on Birth by Sleep.
I mean, okay.
But we're almost done.
Yeah, we're almost done. So are we at the Ven and
Yeah.
Vanitas fight?
Yeah, so Ven and Vanitas are fighting. And, like, this is exactly what Vanitas wants, so he doesn't even really care that much about winning, because as long as they fight, they will eventually fuse and create the Kai Blade, and that's bad news for everyone. They
Why
eventually...
is it bad news for everyone?
Because the Kai Blade will unlock the way to...
Kingdom Hearts.
And start another Keyblade war.
And start... I guess... Like, there aren't enough Keyblade Masters to start a real war.
Yeah,
they
and
talk
that's
about
what they
that, like,
threaten it.
They keep saying it'll do that, like,
But-
because I kind of remember that.
Whatever,
Yeah.
it'll open the way to Kingdom
So,
Hearts, and
at-
that's bad.
At some point, I think Ven wins, and Vanitas is dying, and then they go into Ven's consciousness.
Yeah,
Right.
because of the fight, they fuse.
And then Vanitas takes his mask off.
And then,
Like,
yeah.
all they needed to do was fight.
It didn't really matter how it turned out. They just needed to clash. Because then they'd fuse, and then his mask comes off, and oh, look, he looks just like Sora.
And apparently the actor that plays Sora was ecstatic to get to do this villain role, by
Yeah.
the way.
Because it was his voice actor from...
Haley Joel Osment.
And
Yes.
yes. And specifically, Sora looks like Vanitas. Because remember, when Sora was super young, possibly an infant, his heart filled in the missing part of Ven's heart, which is Vanitas. So Ven and Vanitas have the same heart shape, basically. And so they end up looking the same.
So you're going to find that Sora and Ventus and any variation thereof can bear similarities to each other.
There's-
But we'll get to
there's
more
a-
of that later.
Yeah, there's a lot of crossover. So, so they fight, and then they go into the in Ven's heart. He and Vanitas are still fighting because these two parts of him have been separate for so long. They get just fused. They continue to fight inside his heart, and Ven realizes the only way to put a stop to this and to get rid of the Kai Blade, which at this point has formed, is to break his own heart. And so he does. He basically stabs himself in the heart with the Keyblade, possibly the Kai Blade, whatever. He knocks himself out in a very, very serious
No
way.
dramatic faction.
Like, he is, at this point, a husk.
Really? That sounds very dramatic.
And that's how he resolved his bloodline.
Aqua wakes up.
Aqua wakes up and sees this and freaks out.
Well,
And
she
has to.
finds-
Oh, right. She has to
Yeah.
fight because Vanitas is still enough in control that he's still running around with Ven's heart at this point.
So what that means is while those two are battling in Ventus's heart, Ven's body, at this point controlled by Vanitas, is fighting Aqua in the corporeal world.
And so the combination of Aqua winning the fight in the real world with Ven destroying his own heart along with Vanitas.
No.
They resolved that fight. The Kai Blade is out of the picture now. Meanwhile, Terra and Xehanort are fighting.
That's presumably what they've been doing this whole time.
Yeah, basically the entire time. But it gets a little complicated. So, Terra wins pretty handily, actually. And Xehanort is possibly holding back because he doesn't actually care about winning once again, because that's not his goal here. You may have noticed that Xehanort's kind of old, and he doesn't want to be old, he wants to be young. Like Terra. So, I think he stabbed himself in the heart with his own Keyblade, releases his own heart, and manages to take over Terra's body.
Because that was his other plot
Yeah.
this whole time, to get Terra ready to be a good host for him.
Yeah, and that's why he's been
Oh,
manipulating
secrets.
Terra this whole time and trying to get him to embrace darkness so that his heart was vulnerable enough that that Xehanort could take over. Terra's not cool with this, and through some magic, his armor with his Keyblade has its own will, and it's partly Terra's will, kind of. Like this one's especially weird because like all of Terra is still being controlled by Xehanort. His heart is with Xehanort, his memories are with Xehanort, his body is being controlled by Xehanort, and those are like three things that are going to come up a lot: body, heart, and memories. And they all seem to be in this whole Terra Xehanort fusion thing, but part of his will is still able to control his armor and fight back. And
It's my tongue.
and at this point, Terra's armor doesn't call it. I think they call it lingering will in the game. The lingering will doesn't quite really manage to win.
So now Terra / Xehanort is fighting Terra's armor.
Yes. And they don't. He doesn't quite manage to win. But he does do enough damage that Terra Xehanort has to flee and also is pretty messed up and kind of losing memories.
So this still doesn't quite work out the way Xehanort planned.
Yeah.
The good news is he has a new body. The bad news is he doesn't remember why he was doing any of this stuff.
Right. So, so Terra Xehanort,
So he got a reset. Is basically what happened.
kind of, maybe.
Anyway.
This part is a little vague. So they take off. Lingering Will just doesn't have anyone fight anymore, so he just kind of kneels there at the Keyblade graveyard and hangs out because he's an immortal suit of armor.
Right.
Aqua at this point has the comatose Ven, and is like, I need to put you somewhere safe. I can't just leave you lying around. So she goes back to the land of departure, sees that it's been horribly destroyed, but the castle is still more or less intact. So she goes into it and does that thing that she learned earlier, which is turning it into an impregnable fortress, and puts Ven at the very heart of it, and turns it into Castle Oblivion, which we'll see later. In Castle Oblivion, no one can get to the heart of Castle Oblivion unless they're a Keyblade Master and know the trick, and possibly have Ericus as Keyblade even. It might be that specific. So she leaves him there, and then she is able to hunt down Terra Xehanort at this point.
Who still has some of his memories.
Yeah, he's still he still knows that he wants to do evil things, but he's kind of stumbling around and a little unsure of himself. So they meet back at Radiant Garden. Why they ended up there is anyone's guess. It's just a place. And they fight, and Aqua basically wins, but it taxes her a lot, and Terra Xehanort start falling into the Realm of Darkness. Realm of Darkness hasn't come up yet, but it's very important at this point because all the Disney worlds and most of the games take place in the Realm of Light, which is where all the good, normal, living stuff happens. But there's this other realm called the Realm of Darkness. It's off on its own. You don't want to go there because there's darkness there, and darkness isn't good for you. And it's also weird and unhealthy in a lot of ways.
And you generally can't come back.
Yeah, and it's also really hard to get out of. So they're falling into the Realm of Darkness. And so Aqua jumps in after them. She activates her armor, which you use to protect yourself from darkness powers, including in the realm between worlds. Puts her armor with the unconscious Terranort on her Keyblade motorcycle thing, and uses all of her magical power to send them away. So she sends them out of the portal that they were originally falling into. She falls into the Realm of Darkness. She no longer has her own Keyblade because that's with her armor. That's the vehicle they used to escape. She just has Ericus' Keyblade at this point. And she wishes, and she just kind of hopes that things turn out. She could not leave her friend, even controlled by this madman, to fall into darkness and be lost forever.
So this is kind of where Birth by Sleep ends, except for the extra chapters. Now, after that Terranort Aqua fight, now his memories are completely gone, and he's in Radiant Garden going, what's going on? For the most part.
It's a little, he's definitely not fully himself anymore. It's a little unclear, how much of that is true and how much he's faking it, because he immediately gets picked up by Ansem. Ansem just kind of takes in strays all the time. He has a bunch of orphans that he raised to be scientists alongside him. And so he meets this kid who seems cool but lost all his memories. He's like, I'll take care of you. It's
Who
fine.
was Ansem again?
Ansem.
As a super cool scientist.
No, I know.
This
That guy.
is Ansem.
Although that's a far better cry than what you usually hear about people taking in orphans. He's turning them into scientists as opposed to these are my children soldiers. It's like no, they're all super smart scientists. They're all
Yeah, this isn't going to work out long term.
no, I know it's not, but it's different. That's
It's
all I'm saying.
technically
It's
not
different.
Ansem's fault that it doesn't turn out. Anyway,
Just saying it's different. That's all I'm
Anyway,
saying.
this is Ansem.
this is Ansem. Also, Breg works for Ansem as one of his security people. So Breg is like, he pulls Terranort aside and is like, hey, you're just faking the whole memory loss thing, right? Right? We're still cool, right? And Terra Xehanort has enough wherewithal to go like, yeah, everything's fine. We still totally have plans.
Wink.
Wink.
So he's safe. Ven is safe, and
Ven is
Aqua's stuck in the world
Aqua
of
got
dark.
totally screwed.
Stuck in the
Aqua
world of darkness.
so got screwed.
Aqua super got screwed. And she just kind of lives in the realm of darkness for a long time.
Yeah, the tagline of Birth by Sleep should be Aqua gets screwed.
She's there for at least 10 years.
Kind of.
But time
We'll get-
flows differently.
Okay,
Yeah,
anyway,
I thought it was like
All right,
300
stop
or something
interjecting
like that.
future game things.
Yeah.
It's getting
Huh?
confusing.
It's already confusing. Guess what? We're just through Birth by Sleep. We haven't
Yeah.
even gotten to Kingdom Hearts
Okay.
1 yet.
Sorry, let me revise. It's getting more confusing. Stop interjecting future game things.
We'll get there
We'll get there.
eventually.
All right, let's see who I have next on the slide. Okay. Oh, sorry. This is Terra Xehanort.
Yep.
This is what he looks like. He basically is just Terra, but with white, slightly spiky
Yeah, pay
hair.
attention to that because that hairdo, that guy is going
And
to
then
be
there's
important.
Right, there's
Well.
Lingering Will.
Or lingering well.
I should have looked ahead a little more. Okay, so that's getting into Kingdom Hearts 1. So all that happens. A bunch of time passes.
Yeah, I thought Aqua was trapped in darkness for like 300 years
No.
or something like that.
No.
Okay.
There's only
Just felt like
there's like at most 10 years between this and the next time Aqua shows up. And also those 10 years don't count, which we'll get to.
Anyway, moving on.
Where are we now?
So now we're in the space between Birth by Sleep and Kingdom Hearts 1.
Any games in there?
So Birth by Sleep 0.2.
That's later.
I always forget the subtitle for Birth by Sleep 0.2. It doesn't matter. There's
Aqua's
a
so
side
screwed.
story with Aqua that takes place alongside Kingdom Hearts 1 that we'll come back to.
0.2. Aqua's still screwed.
What happens in the meantime is
Pain never ends.
Ansem starts researching hearts. And is like, hearts are really cool. They seem to have a lot of energy. So each game gets successively more complicated, right? Birth by Sleep is the craziest. So, a little. Birth by Sleep is definitely one of the craziest. Also, at this point, I'm like
Hi, Em.
halfway through my slides. Hi, Bridger. Because all this is a ton of setup for everything that comes later. Most of the other games are a lot simpler, but some of them are still complicated.
Well,
Anyway,
anyway.
so Ansem is researching hearts, and he's like, hearts are super cool. We should research hearts a lot. And he figures out, oh, there are these creatures called Heartless. And Heartless are made when a person loses their heart to darkness. Their body disappears, but their heart is left over, and it gets subsumed by the darkness and becomes a crazy monster that wants to consume more hearts. And that's dangerous. Maybe we should stop investigating Heartless. And Xehanort is like, no, Heartless are super cool. We're going to keep investigating those. I'm banishing you to the realm of darkness. Goodbye. All the other apprentices in security that work for Ansem are like, yeah, this guy seems cool. We'll work for him now. They continue researching Heartless, figure out how to make artificial Heartless, which is its own mess. And eventually, somehow, convinces everyone to split themselves into Heartless and Nobodies. Nobodies are also a special thing. Some very strong-willed people manage to maintain their body and memories after they lose their hearts to a Heartless. That's called a Nobody because it has a body, of course. And so...
But the name Nobody would suggest it doesn't have one.
Well, okay, so the Heartless... I always mess this up.
Mhm.
The Heartless is what happens when your heart falls into darkness.
Yes, so it's a heart with no body.
It's a heart with no body.
Uh-huh.
A nobody is just body and memories but no heart.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. What were the unversed?
Oh, right, sorry, I forgot about that part.
Which is funny because you'd think the Heartless would be the ones without a
Yeah.
heart.
So, you remember this guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the darkness. I mentioned before that it was kind of a big deal that Ven had a lot of darkness in him before he got split into pieces.
Yeah.
All of the inverse that were infecting multiple worlds and causing this huge plague, creating giant bosses, they were all from this guy.
Whoa.
His darkness, he let his darkness spread across a bunch of worlds and they became these creatures of unversed. That's how much darkness Ven had inside him.
Wow.
That's an unprecedented amount of darkness.
Yeah, it's kind of a lot of darkness.
That's why Xehanort was all like, hey. Alright, we can move forward again.
Right.
What's this cloaky guy?
So, this is
It's a Jawa.
the first form of Xehanort's Heartless. And then this is Xehanort's Nobody.
Hey, it's Terra.
It kind of looks like Terra, but even more spiky hair.
Yes.
And you may also notice the black cloak that came up before. That's suspicious, isn't it? And this is Organization 13.
Hey.
Scout close, you may come up with 14, but ignore that. You see, the two in the center, I wish I could gesture, but the two in the center underneath Xehanort's nobody, they're not actually there yet. And in fact, like, a lot of them aren't quite there yet. At this point, Xehanort's Heartless goes off and does his own thing. Xemnas, Xehanort's nobody.
Wait. When did Terrace Xehanort get a Heartless and a nobody? When did that happen?
He just decided to do that one day.
Okay, one day he's like, I'm going to do the experiment on myself, like all responsible
Yeah,
scientists
he just
do.
decides that this is a good idea.
So
And
that,
does-
what we're looking at, is Xehanort's nobody.
Yes.
In the middle.
In the middle.
And all of the former apprentices and
Nobodies.
guards.
A lot of them are.
nobodies.
Not actually all of them. A handful of these he picks up later.
Okay.
But a lot of them are important.
So
No.
go back to the Heartless. So the first four, so that's his nobody. That's his...
That's Xemnas. So
That's the
the other
Heartless.
thing that happens at this point is Ansem got kicked out, and so Xehanort decides this isn't complicated enough. I'm going to start calling myself Ansem, and I'm going to start writing science reports about the heart under the name Ansem. And then I'm going to split myself, and my Heartless is going to call himself Ansem still, and my nobody is going to call himself Xemnas, because for reasons we'll get to later, all the Organization 13 people rearrange their letters in the name and add an X.
Yeah.
So this is Ansem.
This is Ansem, Seeker of Darkness, is the way the fandom refers to him.
Ansem, Seeker of Darkness. And the next one
The next one
is
is
Xehanort's nobody, otherwise known as Xemnas.
Right.
Got it? Got that?
Got all that?
I'll forget it.
It's fine.
I already forgot it.
So yeah. So
That's
Xemnas-
Organization 13.
So this is Organization 13.
We'll get into
Xemnas
that.
is off to the side gathering these people during Kingdom Hearts 1. He doesn't show up much. So meanwhile,
Hey,
we finally
Sora.
we finally have Sora. It's Sora. Sora's great. He's a super cool kid, really friendly. He grew up on Destiny Islands with Riku, crossed suspenders, and Kairi.
How did that happen?
So when they were younger, at somehow, I don't think this is explained yet either, Kairi, oh no, it's kind of explained. So, actually, let's back up for just a moment. Ansem, Seeker of Darkness, Xehanort's Heartless, decides that he just kind of wants to destroy all the worlds. And, like, if he destroys enough worlds, that's somehow going to open the way to Kingdom Hearts. And so he goes around and is spreading Heartless all over the place, and eventually this leads to the heart of the world getting consumed by Heartless, and those worlds start to blink out. And one of the worlds that is infected by Heartless but not fallen yet, but really in bad shape, is Radiant Garden. It gets messed up, everyone starts calling it Hollow Bastion, almost everyone flees. And so...
If they can.
Yeah, if they can. Basically, everyone just takes off, and Radiant Garden becomes Hollow Bastion, is left to the Heartless. That's why Kairi, as part of the Exodus, ends up on Destiny Islands with the other two.
Well, and a couple questions about that,
Sure.
because it's hard to traverse the barriers between the worlds. I believe in Kingdom Hearts 1 they say she appeared on the night of a meteor shower.
Yeah.
And I think she's adopted by the mayor or something.
I think that's an extra material. This is not addressed at all in the game. She just shows up.
Okay, shows up.
They do ask her about that. They're like, where did you come from? She's like, I don't really know.
Yeah, she
I
doesn't...
was really little. I don't remember.
She has kind of sketchy memories from her early childhood.
Trauma will do that.
Anyway,
Yeah.
these are our three friends after the
These are our
last
three
three
friends.
friends we were talking about.
Yeah, minor side note. You may remember Terra, Aqua, Ventus means wind, in case you're not up on your Latin. Terra and Aqua meaning earth and
Water.
It's original Fire
Riku,
Boy.
Riku, Kairi, and Sora also mean land, sea, and sky. So they have similar things going on. So these three are great friends, and they have a great life. They basically have their own island where they can just go to whenever they want and play with their other friends.
It's pretty awesome.
And that's not good enough for them, especially for Riku. Riku, presumably because he met this crazy guy who handed him a Keyblade many years ago, really wants to go to other worlds, and is convinced that if they just build a raft and gather a couple coconuts, they can get to other worlds.
Sounds legit.
Yeah.
So worked on Gilligan's Island.
Yeah, so that's their summer plan. They're doing this. They put together a raft. They have a bunch of
Kiara,
friendship.
they're playing raft.
While they're doing this, there's some rivalry between Riku and Sora for Kairi's attention. But Riku kind of plays off of it. And anyway, there's a little bit of rivalry there.
Although
but they're mostly
it does
friends.
kind of feel like Riku's doing it mostly to annoy Sora.
Yeah. So, and at one point, there's a special fruit called a Paupu fruit, I think, where if you give this fruit to someone, you'll be with them forever
If you
in a
both
vague,
eat
like,
it or
we'll totally get married later kind of way. But they can't
Is it a
talk about
star
it
fruit?
because they're like 14.
Well,
yeah.
it's star-shaped, but it's not
a star-shaped fruit.
It's a little
And so-
too star-shaped to be star
Anyway,
fruit.
they each really want to give Kairi this fruit.
Or
Yeah,
rather,
like Kairi-
Sora does,
Sora
and
does.
Riku keeps threatening to.
Yeah. But they're best friends. They promise to be together forever, all that jazz. And then, in the middle of the night, a horrible storm approaches their club island. And Sora's like, oh no, our raft. It's going to be destroyed. So he runs out to this island in the middle of the night. And we get the only hint of Sora's parentage of he has a mom. She's like, Sora, where'd you go? All we do is hear her voice. Other than that, none of these children have parents. Kairi has a grandma, but that's not really important. Anyway.
Well, she did on Radiant Garden.
Yeah. So, so Sora runs out to the island, and it's way worse than he thought, because it's not just a storm, it's a storm of darkness. There are a ton of Heartless. He has to go, does he see, I think he sees the shadowy figure go into the cave, where there's this big mysterious door. And he goes into it, and it's specifically this mysterious shadowy figure. And this mysterious shadowy figure says some vague foreshadowing stuff about worlds falling into darkness, probably. Darkness, 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 hearts, darkness.
Darkness, darkness.
And
Why
Sora's
am I
like,
slightly used droids?
yeah, and Sora's like, that's weird. And then the mysterious door that's there bursts open. Or no,
Kairi's there.
because Kairi's there, right. Kairi's in that room. The door bursts open, a flood of darkness pours out, knocks them both away, and Kairi seems to disappear just as they're about to embrace. So Sora gets knocked out. There are a bunch of Heartless. It's very dangerous.
When does
I
he get
know.
the Keyblade?
It's right after this. So he runs out and he sees Riku. And he's like, Riku, things are going bad. Maybe we should get out of here. And Riku's like, portals to darkness are totally the best way to get to other worlds. I am all about this. Let's jump in. And so he's just kind of standing in this pool of darkness that's swallowing him. Sora runs toward him because that's what Sora does. He runs toward his friends. He also is getting caught in the darkness. They both get enveloped, and then a bright light shines, and Sora suddenly has a Keyblade. Now, you may remember that Sora didn't get a Keyblade.
Right.
I guess I might as well just say at this point, because Riku was embracing the darkness, that weakened his heart to the point that he was no longer worthy of the Keyblade. The Keyblade needed to manifest at this point because there were a bunch of Heartless to fight. And so finding Riku unworthy, it passed on to Sora.
Well, and I think some would argue that Sora technically has the right because part of him's
There's some
Ventus.
business with Ben.
Y-
Oh, right. No, we totally forgot about that part. I'm sorry. That's important.
I tried to bring it up earlier.
You did. I'm sorry. I forgot to come back to it. When Ven is comatose, and he's just kind of lying, there, and his heart reconnects with Sora's. And
There's
Sora's
always
like,
been a connection there.
yeah, because there's always been a connection. At this point, this is crossing worlds. And Ven's, and Sora's heart is like, you're horribly broken. You can't survive like this. your heart needs to come into mine. And so Ven's heart is in Sora's heart right now, still mostly comatose, but healing. Sorry.
Right, so that's why
So-
Ven's heart is effectively part of Sora at
Yes.
this point.
and
and-
Ven's body is over in Castle Oblivion.
And yes,
Hanging out.
hang on, just
Anyway, Riku doesn't get his Keyblade
Riku
because
doesn't
he's
get it.
unworthy.
right.
This
And
is a point of more rivalry later.
yeah, and this is actually what happens because of what happens later on in the game. So Sora gains the Keyblade. He's able to fight some Heartless, but he can't stop the destruction of his world. He once again falls into darkness and wakes up on Traverse Town.
Oh, right.
Traverse Town is once again a special world created for the Kingdom Hearts series, and it is special because it, among several other worlds that we'll encounter, is kind of teetering on the edge of the world of darkness. It's kind of, we'll call it a Twilight world. It's still accessible from the realm of light, but it's also more accessible than usual from the realm of darkness. So people keep having their worlds destroyed, but if they're strong enough, they'll survive, and frequently they end up on Traverse Town. Sora keeps running around, beating up some Heartless, and eventually runs into some Final Fantasy characters.
Who are all strong of will, and therefore they have ended up here.
Yes. These characters were originally from Hollow Bastion, but again, that place is not worth... That place is too dangerous, so they escaped and got here. Meanwhile, slightly before all this happened, Mickey realized that lots of worlds were falling into darkness. And that's bad. And at this point, he has graduated to Keyblade Master.
Oh, and did we mention he's a king? We haven't mentioned that yet.
Also, yeah, he's King Mickey. He has his own kingdom.
He is mostly referred to as Your Majesty throughout the course of this series.
He is married to Minnie, and Donald and Goofy are his trusted companions.
Donald is the court wizard, Goofy is the captain of the guard.
Right. And so Mickey, realizing that bad things were happening, once again, rather than just talking to his friends, leaves a note. And he says, I need to go. You guys need to find the Keyblade. See you later. And so...
Even though I already have one.
Yeah.
Communication is an ongoing problem in this series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so apparently Mickey also wasn't very good at the whole not telling people about other worlds, because Donald and Goofy know about the other worlds. And they have a gummy ship, which is a convenient way to travel between worlds. And gummy ships are just kind of there. I think, like, Ansem might have helped invent them, maybe.
Maybe.
Whatever,
weird.
it's how we get between
Regardless.
worlds.
It's how we would get... It's why only these characters can get between worlds, and it's how they do it. from
Sora
now
doesn't
on.
know how to make his Keyblade into a
Right.
skateboard or
Yeah,
whatever.
he didn't... Sora never gets any Keyblade training for a long time, so he just kind of is going on gut instinct and does pretty well, surprisingly.
Well, because he's the hero.
Yeah, because he's the hero. And he's special. And he has, at this point, at least 2 hearts inside him.
Yeah.
1.5.
Yeah, 1.5. It's complicated.
More
Anyway,
organs, more human.
More organs were you.
More organs mean more human.
So right. So Donald and Goofy head out to try to find the Keyblade, and they also end up at Traverse Town. So Sora is running around fighting Heartless, and so are Donald and Goofy. They meet up in the middle of a boss fight. They work together, and then Donald and Goofy, recognizing that he's the Keyblade, are like, "You should come with us. We have a way to get to other worlds. You're looking for your friends. We'll help you. Also, we want you to help us find our friend."
We'll all be very helpful and very friendly.
Yes, we'll all be friends and be helpful and friendly. And
Sora.
so,
Yay!
yeah. So they start going to Disney Worlds.
This is my wheelhouse.
Meanwhile, Riku
Meanwhile, Riku, who fell into darkness, gets found by Maleficent.
Of course.
keeps happening.
Yeah.
We should hop over to Riku.
Theoretically, there's this whole like darkness attracting darkness thing going on,
Flip it
but
to
it's
Riku.
never really described. Should I switch to Riku?
Yeah,
what do I have
if we're
next?
talking about Riku, we should look at Riku.
Okay, we'll come back to that later.
Yeah.
A preview.
Yeah, I don't remember what order what exactly I have in order, so it's fine. So Riku is found by Maleficent. Maleficent has been busy during this whole time too. She somehow has figured out that if there are 7 princesses of heart, which are 7 young women who have pure hearts of pure light. And if we can get all 7 princesses of heart, we can get incredible power.
And it opens the way to Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
Does
Right?
she know that? I'm
Yeah.
not, okay, she might know that.
Well, she knows incredible power is involved.
She
Yeah.
at least knows incredible power is involved. She probably wants Kingdom Hearts because she also thinks because it also grants incredible power. Like, it might be wishes. Like, at this point, princesses are Dragon Balls. It's fine. So Maleficent has been going around to other worlds through portals of darkness and gathering various other Disney villains. And she finds Riku and is like, all right, everyone be cool. This guy's going to be useful. Riku, we're all great. You should help us. We'll help you find Kairi. No strings attached. Definitely we're not evil. And he was like, all right, cool. I can't go anywhere. I don't have darkness powers yet. I'm kind of stuck here. I'll help you.
And I super have to find Kairi.
Yeah, and I have to find Kairi. Kairi's my main thing. So, yeah, at that point they visit a bunch of Disney worlds, and eventually they have to go back to Traverse Town to put together a special gummy so they can go to more Disney worlds.
All I want to say at this point is that one, Riku does eventually find Kairi, except she's comatose, and
That's
he
much
doesn't.
later.
That's much later.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He has not found Kairi yet.
And then
Because,
okay,
so, let
God,
me
spoiler
continue.
alert, Kiara.
So,
he was
Trying to
looking
help.
at me for prompts.
I thought you...
Never
you
mind. Go ahead.
Anyway, I was looking back because I was trying to remember if there was anything else that happened before they went to Traverse Town. I'm pretty sure there isn't.
Don't think so.
Yeah. So, to Traverse Town, Sora goes back. He fights another boss, and then Riku shows up. And Riku's like, "Oh, there you are." And Sora's like, "Oh, there you are. What's going on?" And Riku's like, "I'm trying to find Kairi. What are you up to? I see you've made other friends. I guess you don't care about us anymore." And Sora's like, "No, I care about you and Kairi still." And Riku's like, "Whatever. I'm gonna go find Kairi. You have fun with your new friends." And he takes off. And Sora's like, "Well, that was weird." And so then they continue to go to some new Disney worlds. One important one is they go to Monstro, the giant whale from Pinocchio. The whale is so big that it is its own world. It had swallowed Geppetto and Pinocchio. Sora also gets swallowed accidentally when he's in his Gummy ship. He makes friends with Geppetto and Pinocchio, and then Riku shows up. And Riku's like, "I heard about this doll that doesn't have a heart but can still move around. That's suspicious. I need to look into this for reasons that I'm not going to tell you yet." And so Riku tries to kidnap Pinocchio so he can presumably take him back to his evil master so they can do dark experiments on him. But Sora steps in and stops him and is like, "Riku, can you please stop doing evil things?" And Riku's like, "Nope, bye." And then eventually they end up on in Pirate Ship from Peter Pan.
I think this is where.
Yeah, I think.
Also,
and
if you're
this
to
is
the
where-
point where your friend is actually saying, "Hey, can you stop doing evil things?" you might want to reconsider your actions.
Yeah.
One would think.
I'm not evil, I'm just dark.
That's okay. It's only
I
a
didn't
little
ask you
dark.
to stop doing dark things. I asked you to stop doing evil things.
It's not evil, it's only evil from your perspective. So yeah, anyway, at this point,
Pirate
Sora,
ship.
yeah, Sora once again gets captured by a pirate ship, but that Captain Hook owns that is traveling between worlds. And Riku is there. And this time Riku's like, "Look, you've been doing all this fun stuff, or whatever it is, with your new friends. I found Kairi." And so he steps aside, and Kairi is there, lying on the ground, completely comatose. And Riku's like, and Sora's like, "Oh, that sucks." And he reaches for her, and like Kairi just twitches. And then Riku's like, "All right, I'm working with these other people who obviously know what they're doing. You don't. You're just wandering around. I'm gonna keep working with them. Have fun fighting Hook. You fight Hook, and then you finally get to Hollow Bastion."
And a lot happens there.
And a lot happens there. So, you show up, you meet Beast, from Beauty and the Beast, and he had, through pure strength of will, followed Belle, who of course is a Princess of Heart. Maleficent at this point has gathered 6 of the 7 Princesses of Heart. And so Beast followed her through sheer strength of will. to Hollow Bastion because he needs to find Bell. And shortly after that, Sora and Riku meet again. And this time, Riku's like, that Keyblade, you don't deserve it. I deserve it. And he just takes it. Like, holds out his hand, wills it into his own hand, because that's the thing Keyblades can do. You can, if you own a Keyblade, no matter where it is, you can just, like, hold out your hand and it'll come to you. Riku takes Sora's Keyblade, which was actually his Keyblade originally. They just don't know that yet.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, Donald and Goofy are still like, we need the Keyblade to find Mickey. That's what he told us. So, sorry, Sora, but we gotta have to go with Riku. And so then they go like 20 feet away and then just kind of hang out for like 10 minutes. So Beast is still hanging out with Sora because he doesn't care about this whole Keyblade thing.
He just wants Bell back.
Yeah, he just wants Bell back. And obviously this Riku kid's messed up. Screw him. So Sora and Beast hang out for a little while. They solve some puzzles, and eventually they manage to confront Riku again. Donald and Goofy are hanging out to the side, unsure which side to choose for a moment. And all Sora has is the wooden sword that he had back when he was a kid on Destiny Islands. And this, like, through this little part where you don't have the Keyblade, the wooden sword does no damage at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like, actually 0 damage. You have to rely entirely on Beast to do damage. I think you maybe can cast magic, but the point is, Sora has no chance against Riku. Riku puts up a good fight without the Keyblade, and now he has the Keyblade. And so he says, look, something's wrong with you. I need that Keyblade back. You're doing it wrong. And Riku's like, whatever, Bolt of Darkness. And Goofy jumps in, blocks it, and then Donald jumps in as well and is like, listen, we're your friends. We're sorry about before. We didn't mean to be huge jerks. And it turns out Sora has a special secret superpower of friends giving him power. And it's portrayed at the moment of, like, this is a Saturday morning cartoon theme of friends will give you power. But no, Sora actually draws power from friends and makes himself stronger that way, and in doing so is able to steal back the Keyblade. And then they fight again, and Sora wins. Riku goes off and finds Maleficent, and is like, what happened? I thought I was stronger. And Maleficent's like, you just don't have enough darkness in you. You want some more darkness? And Riku's like, alright, sure. And Riku, and so Maleficent pumps him full of darkness. And in so doing, lets in Ansem, Seeker of Darkness, Xehanort's nobody, who at this point had just kind of been a shadowy figure that had shown up occasionally. Now he is possessing Riku. Riku still has a little bit of control, but mostly he's just possessed.
Seems to happen a lot in this universe.
Yes. So Sora continues to travel through Hollow Bastion, eventually gets to the top, and finds where they're keeping the Princesses of Heart. I think Beast might hang out there for now. But Riku is taunting them this whole time, going, you should come, like, I can totally take you, meet me up there. They go in a little farther, and there's this giant heart on the wall that is the doorway to the heart of Hollow Bastion, kind of. At this point they also, because Ansem is inside Riku, he has secret knowledge and is able to take the 6 Princesses of Hearts, takes the 6 hearts and turns them into a Keyblade. This is called the Keyblade of Hearts. It is a special, unique thing that only exists for this instance. Ansem Riku is going to use the Keyblade of Hearts to unlock this final world, and potentially, if he gets the 7th heart, unlock the way to Kingdom Hearts. Sora shows up. They fight. Once again, Sora wins. And at this point, Riku Ansem just kind of takes off. I don't remember what. I think he falls into darkness at this point. He just kind of goes through a portal into darkness and is off scene for the moment, but he leaves the Keyblade of Hearts. And
Why would you do that?
yeah, it's who
Maybe
knows?
it can't go.
Maybe it can't go. He did lose the fight. He may have just dropped it. I think that's what happened. So they
It would make sense if it couldn't
Yeah.
go.
also Riku had Kairi's body there, and up until this point, Sora had a couple of hints and a bit of a flashback where he was like having memories that only Kairi could have, and he realizes at this point, Kairi's body is there, but her heart is in me. I'm the reason Kairi can't get up and move around. She's inside me right now. The Keyblade of Hearts has the other special power of being able to unlock people's hearts. So Sora takes the Keyblade, stabs himself in the heart, releases Kairi's heart, but also kinds of turns himself. And also, seems to disappear at this point.
And turns himself into
All the princesses of Heart get their hearts back because the Keyblade of Heart also disappears at this point. It turns out Kairi is the 7th princess. She wakes up just in time to grab hold of Sora as he's disappearing. And she's very sad, but Donald and Goofy grab her and take her away. A few moments later, Heartless gets up and you're in control of him and you realize, oh, Sora just released his heart and there's some darkness around. Sora turned into a Heartless. The clever viewer may remember strong-willed people turned into nobodies too, but we'll get back to that.
That will be important
That
shortly.
will be important, yeah. So Sora, as a Heartless, still has enough of his own will that he chases after Kairi, Donald, and Goofy.
I suppose I should bring up at this point the reason Sora has Kairi's heart. Remember way back in the beginning when Kairi was in front of the door and they were all knocked backward and she was about to embrace him and she disappeared? That's when Kairi's heart went into Sora.
Right.
Just in case that wasn't clear.
And also, because she's a princess of heart, her body was in the realm of darkness this whole time when their world was destroyed, but she was able to survive there because she's a princess of heart. She has no darkness inside her, and she had no heart, so the Heartless didn't care about her. Heartless Sora sees his friends under attack by a bunch of Heartless, and because Donald and Goofy are perpetually useless in these games, they're still useless in this cutscene, despite the fact that they're fighting the weakest. They're fighting half a dozen of the weakest Heartless in the game, and they still can't handle themselves. And so Sora, as a Heartless, jumps in, and just as Kairi's about to get overwhelmed, he embraces her and turns back to normal, which really shouldn't be possible.
Yeah,
She's
but
the Princess of Heart.
she's the Princess of
Hand
Heart.
wave it.
Yeah.
This is never thoroughly explained.
This is
It's Kingdom Hearts. I don't have to explain shit.
Yeah. Heart magic happens. Sora gets to turn back to normal,
With his heart.
With his heart.
He's him.
and also his body and his memories. So
Because Princess of Heart.
Princess of Heart. So they escape together.
Yay.
Because of what Ansem was doing earlier, because of what Sora, Ansem, Xehanort were doing earlier with the Keyblade of Hearts, a ton of Heartless are spewing out. It's not safe here. We have to retreat for the moment. So they go back to Traverse Town. They talk with some Final Fantasy characters, and then Sora and Kairi have a heart-to-heart where Kairi's like, I want to help you, and Sora's like, you can't fight. We're doing a lot of fighting. You need to stay here and be safe. I promise I'll come back to you. And Kairi gives him a star-shaped amulet made out of seashells, I think, and says, all right, this is the promise. I give this to you. You have to give it back to me. That's the promise. You'll come back and give this back. Sora takes off. Goes back to Hollow Bastion. Finds Beast still there. Fights his way up. Meets some of the Princesses of Hearts along the way.
Who have been staying there to try to keep the darkness at bay, by the way.
Right, yeah. They're using their princess powers to keep the darkness more or less contained. At this point... No, actually, they don't show it. So, you get it back to the top. Maleficent is still there and is just loving this whole overflowing darkness thing. Sora's like, I have to put a stop to this and lock away the darkness, and so they fight. And Sora wins, Maleficent retreats. Then,
Like you do.
in a side chamber, Maleficent meets Riku, now even more possessed than he was before. And Riku's like, "You're weak. You want me to unlock your true potential? I'll give you all the darkness you want." And Maleficent's like, "Well, I know this is a bad idea because I've used this trick on other people, but sure, why not?" Riku...
Did you have a picture of that?
Huh?
I thought that was... Well, okay,
I
I don't know
have...
who these people
This
are.
is... No.
Okay.
Okay. No,
No, that's gonna head
That's
for
way
sure.
ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I
I don't know who these characters are. I shouldn't
It's
say
fine.
anything.
No, it's...
I do.
So...
I paid attention.
So,
when you
so yeah,
played
Riku unlocks
didn't
Maleficent's
play.
potential. She turns into a giant dragon.
I played
Sora shows up.
Maybe?
1 and 2.
Sora shows up and... Sorry, I was making sure I wasn't interrupting you.
No, evidently I played these games at some point, and I vaguely
You
remember.
played 1 and 2. You played it when we lived in Linwood and had the... You would play it on the TV in our room.
Okay.
Yeah, I let you borrow the game, so I remember.
Yeah. That's
So-
why I know anything about these games. That and the one game Brad played for us. But that's why I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this. This happened.
So you fight Maleficent again, and then after you beat her, she kind of dissolves. And Riku Handsome Xehanort shows up again and is like, "Haha, weakling, you couldn't handle the darkness, lol." And then retreats through a portal of darkness again.
Hold on, I want to take a minute.
Go ahead.
I want to know how the Mistress of All Evil couldn't handle the darkness.
I mean, she got beat up real hard twice in a row.
I'm
So
just saying.
Terra has been possessed by Xehanort.
Uh-huh.
Xehanort Terra has divided into Zenmus the Nobody and Ansem Seeker of Darkness.
The Heartless.
The Heartless.
Uh-huh.
Ansem Seeker of Darkness, the Heartless, has now possessed Riku.
Yes.
Did I get it all?
That's... Yes.
Awesome. Continue.
Also, Ericus is in there in the next pool. That's not important.
Wait,
Anyway,
what?
just
So...
shush. Moving on.
So, Sora manages to lock the overflowing darkness that was coming out of that weird giant heart thing, fights a minor mini-boss kind of to do it. The Final Fantasy characters show up and are like, "Okay, we're really glad that you did that. There's this other world that showed up, I think this is called the End of the World, but it's its own world.
Sure.
And we're pretty sure the bad guy's over there, you should go there."
Turns out it's New Jersey.
Yeah.
Save Riku, whatever.
Yeah, save Riku, good luck. So they go to the end of the world, and the end of the world is like this kind of weird Starfield comedy thing that's falling apart. It's made up of
Great
the remnants.
music in here, though.
Yeah, it's made up of the remnants of the worlds that have been destroyed. You fight Chernobog, I believe, is the giant demon thing from
Fantasia.
Fantasia. And then you get to the bottom, and you go through the final door where it says, "Are you sure you want to go through this? This is the final boss." And they walk out onto the beach of Destiny Island, except it's all destroyed and there's a bunch of darkness going on, and Riku is there. And then he turns around and turns into this guy.
Well, who the hell is that guy?
This is the better form of Anthem Seeker of Darkness.
There's a Heartless emblem on
Yes.
his chest.
He has a Heartless emblem on his chest because he's a Heartless. Specifically, that's the artificial Heartless emblem. So,
It is?
yeah.
Wow.
That's
So-
even more confusing.
Yeah, by the way, when Xehanort was still whole and researching Heartless, he figured out how to create more Heartless. The naturally occurring ones are just the little shadow guys, but he figured out how to turn them into all the colorful zany villain versions. And they all had this symbol on there somewhere, and he's one of them because he turned himself into a Heartless.
Right.
That sounds like a great idea.
And so he's like, and so that's where our intro image came from. I'm not going to scroll all the way back to it.
No.
But he's like, darkness is super cool. I'm going to unlock Kingdom Hearts. It's going to have all the darkness I could ever want. Power, hearts, darkness.
Confusing, though, because Kingdom Hearts is supposed to have all the light.
They don't know that yet.
Oh, they don't know that.
Yeah. It's kind of a secret. We just know that Kingdom Hearts is the heart of all worlds, and it's in
Full
the
of
realm
power.
of darkness. And it's full of power. So they fight like 6 times.
Because it's a final boss fight.
This is the final boss.
And a JRPG.
And eventually, they actually do the thing that I hate, but they do it in a way that's not actually that annoying. So you fight this guy 6 times, you beat him every time, and at the end, you don't actually beat him. It's just Sora floating in a void because when he was at Peter Pan, he learned how to fly. And Ansem hanging out there too. And they just go back to JRPG soliloquy at each other. Like, you beat him 6 times and you don't actually beat him. And he's like, alright, there's Kingdom Hearts, I'm going to open the door now. And it's going to give me all the power I ever wanted. And Sora's like, I mean, you can if you want, but Kingdom Hearts is totally light and it's going to blast you into a million pieces. And Ansem's like, we'll see. And he opens up the door and it blasts him into a million pieces.
How about that?
How about that? And so the problem is that Kingdom Hearts is still overflowing with Heartless. It's in the realm of darkness. That's where Heartless came from. Heartless feed on hearts and light, so there's a lot of them there, and it's very dangerous. At this point, we cut back to Aqua. Because this is where Birth by Sleep 0.2 happens. A fragmentary
Really?
passage. That's the subtitle. A fragmentary passage. So Birth by
Right
Sleep...
there.
Yes.
Oh.
Birth by Sleep 0.2, a fragmentary passage, is a, 5-hour game that exists exclusively to explain 3 different costume changes. Or, a couple costume changes. So, we find out Aqua has been wandering around in the realm of darkness for a while, but she's not aging, and that's a little weird. And it's because, as she puts it, time doesn't exist in the realm of darkness. I mean, time does exist because you're able to take action. There's, entropy and
Aging doesn't
consequences.
exist in the realm of
But-
darkness.
The more correct version is probably to say that time flows there very differently and mostly very slowly compared to the world. So she's there for a long time. She wanders around for a while. She has, several existential crises in a row. I did the wrong thing. I'm going to be here forever. I miss my friends and I'm very sad. At one point, she is so sad that earlier in Birth by Sleep, during a playable segment in the post-game, you're playing as Aqua in the World of Darkness, and Ven and Terra's Keyblades come and find her and save her. And a similar thing happens here. She is in a dire strait, and somehow her heart connects with Ven's heart and Terra's heart. And Ven is and they can't see each other, but she can see both of them. And she's like, Ven, what's going on? And he's just kind of vague and comatose and can't tell what's going on because he's still healing inside Sora's heart. She doesn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Terra is like, Aqua, what's going on? Things have gone terribly wrong. Where are you? She's like, I'm in the realm of darkness. I'm really bummed out. I missed you guys a lot. She turns back to Ven and doesn't notice that Terra struggles with himself for a moment and is suddenly very definitely Xehanort. And she's like, and while she's not paying attention to this, Aqua's like, can you not see Ven? He's right here. I put him somewhere safe. And Xehanort, Terra's
Asks where.
ears pop up and he's like, oh, you know where Ven is. Where is he? And she starts to tell him, and then another copy of Terra's heart pops out and grabs a hold of him and is like, don't tell him, he's evil. And Aqua's like, okay, I guess. I think she might get so far as I took him back home or something to that effect.
Yeah.
So at this point, Xehanort kind of knows where Ven is. And then their hearts disconnect because Terra doesn't want her to reveal anything else. Aqua continues on a little farther, and she meets up with Mickey. Mickey had gone to the Realm of Darkness because he needed to find a Keyblade that only existed in the Realm of Darkness because you can only close the door to Kingdom Hearts with a Keyblade from both sides. And so he had gone to the Realm of Darkness and he comes across Aqua, just totally accidentally. He's like, Aqua, there you are. I lost track of you. Are you okay? And Aqua's like, not really, but there are a lot of Heartless around. Can we deal with those for now? And so they run around beating up Heartless for a little while. And then, and I think at this point Mickey tells her what Heartless are too, because she didn't know. They're just weird darkness things. And so they continue forward, and somehow, this is one of the plot holes, somehow Mickey knows that out there are Sora and Riku, and they're working really hard to try to save the worlds. Mickey has no business knowing who these people are. But somehow he knows that they're out there and they're trying to save Kingdom Hearts. And so he's
Riku's
like,
trying to save Kingdom Hearts right so far in the story. All he's done is screw everything up.
right.
He's trying to make up for it.
Well,
Maybe.
we'll
He'll
get
get
back
there.
to that.
Maybe
Yeah, again,
somewhere
Mickey-
deep in his shadowy little soul, he does care.
Of course he
Yeah,
does.
that's
It's
the
just
thing.
smushed under anything right now.
Yeah.
All the emo.
So,
The weight of all the emo.
Look, it's hard.
right. So they continue on, and
Kingdom
Mickey's
Hearts.
basically like, I need to keep going forward. I need this Keyblade of Darkness, and also we need to help them. So they go forward. They're fighting a bunch of Heartless. By the way, at this point, Mickey is still in his anime getup from Birth by Sleep. They get into a big fight with this giant pile of Heartless that turn into a giant ball of Heartless and have darkness powers. It's a very tough fight, and I believe that at this point, after the boss fight, there's a post-cut scene where Mickey gets blasted by the giant pile of Heartless, and he's left in his normal Mickey outfit of just a pair of shorts. That's costume change number 1. So they continue on. Mickey's like, oh, there's Riku. I'm going to go help him. Because at this point, Riku, Ansem has been blasted by the light, and so Riku is kind of in control of himself again, but he's in the realm of darkness, on the other side of Kingdom Hearts. Mickey runs off to take care of them. Aqua has to retreat because there's another flood of darkness, and so she has to hold them back while those two run off and help seal the door of darkness.
Aqua gets screwed part 87.
Yep. So Sora runs up to the door to Kingdom Hearts, starts trying to close it, can't do it on his own. Riku reaches in from the other side and helps him close it. Mickey also shows up in the background with the Keyblade that he went to find, and says something encouraging about "Don't worry, we'll take care of each other." And Riku says, "Take care of Kairi," and then the door closes. They're shut off.
And Riku and Mickey are trapped in the world of darkness.
Yes. Sora turns around and Kairi's there, and
For some
that's
reason.
weird. As it turns out, now that they've defeated this horrible darkness and sealed the way back to Kingdom Hearts, all the worlds that have fallen, a lot of the worlds at least, that have fallen to darkness, start to reform. Because Kairi belongs on Destiny Island, the island starts forming around her. And Sora's like, I can't go with you, I need to go find Riku. Be safe, I'll come back to you. She says, I know you will. They get separated. And Kairi gets to have a nice musical number where she watches the worlds and the stars come back to light. Sora, Donald, and Goofy, they're still there. They're just never really helpful. Wander off, and they're like, we need to find Riku. I guess we're just gonna go on a new adventure to find Riku.
And Mickey.
Yeah, they want to find Mickey too.
We spent this whole game trying to find our friends.
Yeah,
We
and
didn't find our friends.
We technically found our friends. We just had to get separated again.
Yeah,
We have to find them some more.
Yep.
Kingdom Hearts over.
And then they see Pluto, who's shown up before. Pluto and Mickey, of course.
That's Mickey's dog.
Yeah,
Pluto's Mickey's dog.
Pluto's Mickey's dog. They have a
Also
good
Dwarf
connection.
Planet.
Pluto shows up with a rolled up piece of paper with Mickey's symbol on it, and so they chase after Pluto for a year. Meanwhile,
No, really.
No, really. This takes them a year. So, meanwhile, let's go back to Xemnas.
Hey, dude. You've had a busy year.
Yeah. So, you remember how Sora became a Heartless, and if you're strong enough, that leads to a nobody? Mm-hmm. That's that little blonde kid
In the front.
in the front. You may notice that he bears a striking resemblance to Ventus.
And since we played Kingdom Hearts 2 before we played Birth by Sleep, we spent most of Birth by Sleep referring to Ventus as not Roxas.
Yeah. This is Roxas.
Hi,
Specifically-
Roxas.
Yeah. Xemnas is able to find Sora's nobody, recognize the potential of the Keyblade wielder within him somehow, which shouldn't be possible because you need a heart to wield a Keyblade.
Yeah, all the rest of those guys over there, those aren't Keyblades.
Yeah, no, those are just fancy weapons. So they managed. So Xemnas recognizes the power of a Keyblade inside him and recruits him to as part of Organization 13. Roxas makes number 13. Again, there's 14 here and another person with a Keyblade. That'll be for later. But that happens at this point.
I don't even know. Should I know what that is?
Nope,
No.
that's 358/2.
Cool. I had no idea what the heck that was about. All right, cool.
What is with this series of numbers?
And now we're going to need to pause because I need to pee.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
We're like halfway there, you guys.
Brad, this won't take long. This will maybe be an
An
hour.
hour.
We're
If
2
you-
hours into it, and we're halfway there.
If
Maybe.
you guys need to get food or beverages,
Yeah, this should be
This
like
will-
an episode break, and
Yeah.
then we'll do another intro when he
Yeah.
gets back.
Okay.
Oh yeah, wrap it up.
So yeah.
No, we'll do it when he says I have to pee or something.